Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss Final Destination, starring Devon Sawa, Ali Larder, Kerr Smith, Kristen Cloak, Daniel Roebuck, Roger Guinevere Smith, forgive me if I said that wrong, Chad Danella, Sean William Scott, Amanda Detmer, and Tony Todd, directed by James Wong. Not W-A-N, but W-O-N-G. Now, I have seen this movie before, and I am a little familiar with the movies, but I haven't seen them for a while. And I'm kind of hesitant to do this one, to be fair, because there might be some fans out there that might be sensitive about this series, I'm going to have to be critical to some of these movies. So, let's get into this movie. Alex prepares to go on a field trip with his high school classmates into Paris, France, by plane, and is in class with his with Claire Rivers, played by Ali Lauder, Todd Wagner, played by Chris Donella, and his brother George, lesbians Krista and Blake, Billy Hitchcock, played by Stifler himself, Sean William Scott, Carter Horton, played by Kerr Smith, and his girlfriend Terry Cheney, played by Amanda Detmer. And along on the flight is his teacher Valerie Luton, played by Kristen Cloak, and Larry Murnau, that's right. And I don't really know these characters as I don't really like them that much, but the music is making the movie pretty scary, as Alex sees in his own eye of the future of death as the airplane crashes and sees everyone dying, as the deaths in this sequence was rather clever in my opinion. But Alex wakes up and has a meltdown, getting Alex, Carter, Terry, Todd, and Billy forced off the plane, with Valerie coming with them, and Claire volunteering to get out herself, and they see the plane explode and get to the waiting room until FBI agents, let me see if I say this right, Wayne, something like that, played by Daniel Roebuck, and Shrek, that one was obvious, played by Roger Guinevere Smith. Forgive me if I said that wrong. As they ask everyone who got out questions and are forced back home because of the serious term of events. And this was an exciting first 25 minutes of the movie. Will go downhill, but after then, maybe not. I don't know. I can't remember for the life of me. At the same time, entertain me in a surprising kind of way. Alex sees the lightning of death as it'll remind him, I'm gonna get you. Which was rather good acting by Devon Sawa, as he showed fear in that scene rather well. The next month, the funeral occurs at the school while Carter is being more abusive to Alex as Billy talks to Alex about the driver's test he took at the DMV, as they say he's going to die at a very young age, and Valerie and everyone is against Alex for his meltdown except for Claire, who believes he was telling the truth. And some of these characters are going to fucking die one by one. Like, as soon as Billy and Carter say they can't die, I immediately knew they were dead by the end of this movie. Alex thinks about how he almost died in the plane crash and whacks off to a magazine, and an owl scares him to death and cuts the newspaper by a fan, as Todd is killed by a wet floor that'll lead to a choking situation in the bathtub, not by hand, but a metal string that can't be destroyed, and the wet floor does eventually go in the underneath the sink, I would say, and goes to the hospital as Alex arrives at the scene, and Claire gets out of there rather quickly, which was an interesting way to get a death scene right away. The next day comes, and Alex visits Claire, as she tells Alex how she feels about him, and they never talked to each other in 4 years of high school. And Alex wants to go to the place where Todd is in a casket and see him and say his goodbyes to Todd with Claire, and a security guard named Bloodworth, played by Tony Todd, who was well known for being the Candyman in the 1992 movie. And I wish I did that movie because, to be honest, the third one wasn't available for streaming, and I didn't want to watch it on disc. It's like, what the fuck was the point of that? But anyways, I'll get there one day. But he is in the new Candyman movie as well, but maybe I'll talk about that some other time. And I really like his presence as he's very menacing in this movie as he voiced the Fallen in Michael fucking Bay's Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. But he's always been a great villain and actor in my opinion. While Alex and Clear go to to go get a cup of coffee, Billy almost gets run over by on his bicycle while Carter is driving by the coffee shop and with Terry and Valerie happening to be there. As Alex tries to tell them something, Terry breaks up with Carter as she gets ran over by a bus, which was her death, which was most unexpected in the movie, and I really liked that death as it was unpredictable. Alex realizes Valerie is next to the death list and tries to warn her and calls FBI agent Shrek, as she does, and by she I mean Valerie, to get Alex away from her, and she feels some wind of death is coming after her, and it's a pattern that death will come to these people one by one, as she is playing a record, which will lead to her death while making herself some tea, and Valerie's death is caused by her mug breaking in on its own, as there's water on the computer from her mug, and the computer explodes and gets her throat cut open, and her blood goes on fire, and the stove and the glass bottle breaking itself apart and getting stabbed in the stomach with her knives near her heart. And Alex runs out of her house as it explodes, and Billy is there with his bicycle, which was kind of a funny time for him to show up, as the death was good, I'll give it that. Billy almost gets ran over by Carter again, and Clear is on a mission to look for Alex as he goes nowhere to be found, and Clear finds Alex at a hidden place as she tells him the story of how her father got killed and her mother ditched her for an abusive boyfriend of hers, and he gets back in the car with Clear, Alex I mean, Billy and Carter as he tells everyone they're on the list. Carter drives the car rather too fast and acts like a fucking maniac and acts like an asshole about it, and eventually stops the car, and Alex, Clear, and Billy get out of the car as a train comes by and almost hits them, and Carter says it ain't my time and tries to drive away, but he can't move the car, nor can he get out of the car, but Alex gets him out, and while the train goes by, Billy gets his head decapitated, and Carter believes he's next as Alex, Clear go to her place, and they tape it up so death doesn't go after them as soon as Carter is out of the car. Billy's death I knew was coming as it was a little predictable. Alex almost gets killed by a knife through the door and yells at death like it's nothing, which was a little tedious, I'll say. The FBI agents come by to talk with Clear as she tells them where Alex is at, and Death gets closer to Alex as an electric lightning gets to Clear's place, and the FBI tries to arrest Alex as he runs out, and isn't safe with the FBI as they go after Alex as he falls in a hill, and I thought Clear's dog was going to get the death, but it'll run away after Clear unleashes it, and I thought that was super close. I mean, whew! Clear almost falls down to her death, but she manages to get to a safe place in the house as she goes in the car, and Death tries to get to her again and again, but he keeps missing her by that much, as Alex says stay in the car and to not move until the fire comes to the car, and eventually explodes on Alex in the way, and Clear gets out of it alive, and we move on to 6 months later. Alex is alive? What the fuck? But Alex, Clear, and Carter gets to Paris, and Clear dyes her hair blonde, which is what Allie Larder will look like for the rest of her career. As they eat at a restaurant, Alex is almost killed, but Carter saves his life, and Carter dies as the movie ends there, and the climax was rather clever as the movie entertained me. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 6.5 out of 10. The movie's deaths were rather clever, as the movie did entertain me, but there were times death got a little predictable. I don't really like the characters that much, including the main characters that lived by the end of the movie, but Tony Todd does a good job of being Death as the menacing character. The movie is very entertaining, as it does a good job of showing the death scenes, like I brought up again and again, for the characters that died in this whole movie. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next time I will be back with Final Destination 2. And until next time, death is coming for you.